Welcome back to Sport on 7. I'm Tom Bushell, and if you are on Twitter, you can get me there at Tom Bushell UAE. All the big results of the week to come: golf, cycling, F1 and more. But first, let's chat to Chris McHardy from Sport 360 about the stories making the papers here in the UAE over the last week. And once again here with Chris McHardy from Sport 360. I think we're the only two people that have decided to brave the summer heat and film outside whilst it is still very hot. But we do have lots of sport to get through, of course. And let's start with local football and Al Ain, because they're back in the papers again this week and hoping for more signings. They still have that Asian player that they want to sign, of course, and they're looking towards Australia, aren't they?
They are indeed, Tom. Alex Brosk is the new name on everyone's lips when it concerns Al Ain. The 28-year-old winger, was confirmed last evening that they are interested in Alex Brosk. He plays his football in the J-League with Shanusa S-Pulse, and he's a player well known to people in this region, I'm sure. He scored 2 goals for Australia earlier this year against Saudi Arabia, which condemned them to a World Cup exit in their qualifying campaign. So he's the player they've identified. There has been a number of names that are mentioned. Harry Kewell, one of those. Al Ain admitting that they had pinpointed Harry Kewell, the ex-Leeds and Liverpool winger, but that deal is not likely. Harry Kewell looking for a move in England for family reasons. He has been training with Blackburn in the summer, so it's all pointing to Alex Brosk. As I say, there has been a number of names mentioned. Park Chu-young, the Arsenal striker, was one player that was identified by Al Ain, but he's headed off to Spain with Celta Vigo. So look out for Alex Brosk, a very exciting winger. He can also play as a second striker as well, and he seems to be the man that Al Ain are looking at.
Well, let's go from the local league, the Pro League, to the national team, of course. Madi Ali, after guiding the UAE Olympic football side at London 2012, now has started his new job, of course, as the manager of the full national team. And he had his first game just the other night against Japan. And how did that go?
Well, a defeat, Tom. It was a 1-0 defeat. Mike Havener, the Dutch-based striker, with the goal. But a very successful, it must be said. Although they got beat, it was an encouraging display from the UAE. Of course, Japan, Asian champions. They won that tournament in Qatar last year. And all in all, a very impressive start. A lot has been written about Madi Ali. He is the right man for the job, but as you rightly point out, he did a wonderful job with the UAE, taking them to a first ever Olympics earlier on this summer. So yes, a defeat, but certainly a lot to build on. The likes of Omar Abdulrahman again shining, giving a start alongside Aymar Abdulrahman in the centre of that midfield. He again, as I say, Sean very well. Shinji Kagawa, of course, the Manchester United midfielder, a lot been written on him over the past few weeks. He actually was taken off at half-time in that game. And Omar Abdulrahman, who has been linked with Manchester City, of course, who we mentioned last week, had turned down a move there. So in many respects, a win for City there, in that he overshadowed the bigger name. And certainly a lot to look forward to for the future with Madi Ali in this UAE side.
And of course, it's interesting that you mentioned Omar there, because he was one of the players, a star player of that UAE Olympic side in London, of course, under Madi Ali. Let's move on to the Paralympics, because the UAE, of course, didn't win any medals in London, but the Paralympic side are doing fairly well, aren't they, at the moment?
They are indeed. I mean, some great stories over this past week. Abdul Al-Aryani winning the first gold medal in that Paralympics, the R6 50-metre shoot. So a wonderful achievement for him. And also as well, we mustn't forget Mohammed Hamadi, who won silver in the 200 metres. He was excellent as well, excelled, and a wonderful achievement for UAE. As you rightly mentioned, there was no medals won at London 2012, but the Paralympics are certainly showing the way forward.
And talking about the Games in London, of course, the Olympic Stadium in East London, lots of people to me have said it looks quite similar to the cricket stadium here in Dubai, in Sports City, and it was great to see over the last few T20 games there, Australia and Pakistan. That stadium really has been full, and it's been looking amazing. I know the test back in February between England and Pakistan, it was fairly empty, but when that stadium's full, it's a great atmosphere, isn't it?
Very much so, and certainly when you've got the excitement that you had on Friday night. I mean, what a wonderful game for all the spectators that poured in there. An amazing match, really. A draw, 151 that both teams, Pakistan, Australia, scored. A super over to settle it, and that's certainly a way to bring the crowds back. The excitement levels at that level. I know a lot's been made of the heat and stuff, and you know, it is a Friday as well, so everyone's off and enjoying the cricket, and brilliant, and you know, here's hoping that we have more matches like that in the future, and they will certainly bring the crowds back.
Lewis Hamilton said he is grateful to be in the fight for what has become an increasingly close title race after winning the Italian Grand Prix at Monza. Hamilton led from lights to flag, but a perfect day for McLaren was scuppered when Jenson Button, who looked good for second, had to retire because of a fuel problem. Lewis Hamilton moved from 5th to 2nd in the standings to trail leader Fernando Alonso by 37 points. Only 2 points separate Hamilton, Raikkonen and Sebastian Vettel. Peter Hansen holed a 35-foot eagle on the 18th to secure a confidence-boosting victory in the KLM Open ahead of the Ryder Cup. The win, which saw him beat overnight leader Pablo Larrazábal by 2 shots, comes after an emotional week for the Swede. Hansen almost withdrew from the Netherlands event when his young son Tim was admitted to hospital on Friday. Rory McIlroy produced a final round 67 to secure the BMW Championship and his 3rd Tour victory in 4 outings. The Northern Irishman finished 20 under in Indiana, 2 shots clear, and looked in superb form ahead of the Ryder Cup. Alberto Contador won his 2nd Tour of Spain title in his first Grand Tour race since returning to the sport. The Spaniard, 29, ended the race over a minute ahead of the rest of the field. Britain's Chris Froome, runner-up in this year's Tour de France and Olympic bronze medalist in the time trial, was 4th overall, 10 minutes behind Contador. That's it from Sport on 7 this week. As much sport as we can squeeze into 30 minutes of TV. Have a great week. I'm Tom Bushell. Goodbye.